What an inspiration today's lunch has been, and how fantastic to hear how the Regional Jobs Committee is bringing together the most amazing innovation, ideas, willingness to be different. You have so many opportunities ahead of you on the Gold Coast, and that collective group of people working together, I am so excited to see what's going to be happening here.
So the Regional Jobs Committee has been going for a year now. It's an opportunity for us to share the findings. We've taken a pretty deep dive into sectors like tourism and hospitality, advanced manufacturing, really emerging sectors like Industry 4.0 and space. And what we've found is there's an enormous opportunity for the Gold Coast, but one of the challenges that we need to deal with is the shortage of workers that we're currently facing. So that's one of the things that we really want to highlight today. Yeah, so we've got traditional sectors obviously in tourism and construction, but as we look to diversify our economy, we've really got to continue to promote sectors like advanced manufacturing and Industry 4.0, marine. Sectors like these are really important to making sure that we've got the diversification across our economy and heaps of opportunities for people who are going to come and live and work in the city. What we're finding now, which is different to potentially 10 years ago, is that there's just a greater breadth and depth of opportunity for people who come to the city. So not only do you have the lifestyle now, but you've also got the increased opportunity around work opportunities. Yeah, well, I mean, what we've seen significant price increases this year around property prices, haven't we? But no, we're seeing, as we've seen just recently, enormous domestic migration to Queensland. So we wouldn't consider that remuneration is an issue to people travelling and moving to the Gold Coast. Oh, look, I think space, defence and aerospace is one that's going to be on everyone's lips going forward. Companies like Gilmore Space have had a lot of success recently in attracting not only government funding but private sector funding, and the fact that they've chosen to have their home on the Gold Coast is a real coup.
PWR have seen fairly significant growth over the past couple of years. We're extremely busy. We've been expanding in terms of employee numbers, hiring quite a number of people. We've now got 43 apprenticeships running here in our Ormo business as well. So yeah, we've seen quite significant growth. So at PWR we service the motorsport industry, the Formula One teams, NASCAR, V8, supercars. We're also entering the aerospace and defence sector as well, and we have an aftermarket sector to our business as well.
I'm Dr Chris Davis. I'm General Manager at the Institute for Glycomics at Griffith University on the Gold Coast. I'm Deputy Chair of Regional Development Australia Gold Coast and Chair of AusBiotech Limited Queensland branch. The biomedical technology industry on the Gold Coast has absolutely boomed over the last decade. We couldn't have imagined that just 2 decades ago there wasn't a biomedical technology industry. Yet today, actually just last year, we saw the Gold Coast's first drug being made available to patients. A drug now available to treat viral-induced arthritis that was invented right here on the Gold Coast. Obviously, drugs like that don't happen without a huge supply chain underneath them. And that absolutely was the case for that particular drug that was invented here and now has gone through to be available to patients in Australia. So the biomedical technology industry on the Gold Coast comprises a number of different sectors. They include, for example, pharmaceuticals and biotechnology, which includes drugs, vaccines and nutraceuticals. And that in itself is a really growing industry on the Gold Coast. But then there's also medical technologies like in vitro diagnostics, like we've seen for COVID-19, and also new medical devices and medical instruments that are used in hospitals every day. So looking out over the next 5 years, I see that the pharmaceuticals and biotechnology industry will grow significantly. It will grow in its underlying R&D, in the companies that start on the Gold Coast that actually help to incubate and drive those technologies, but also too in the industries that are built around pharmaceuticals and biotechnology, for example, clinical trials. And in fact, that industry alone will grow significantly to support not just technologies that are invented here on the Gold Coast, but also technologies from around the world that can take advantage of the great service that is offered here in Australia and on the Gold Coast in human clinical trials.
My name's Kim Fleet. I'm Production Manager at Maritim on the Gold Coast. We're a luxury boat manufacturer. We're currently employing 200 plus contractors and employees. We're riding a growth pattern at the moment. We're increasing our production and reducing our staffing levels. We're basing our growth in staffing around our apprentice program. We're currently employing apprentices on a weekly basis and hope to have 40 to 50 apprentices by the start of 2023. Currently the industry is extremely buoyant. We're going through a phase now where our order book is full. There's a lot of positivity within the industry, certainly at Maritim. We've got new product, new people, new direction. We've got expanding our dealer network all around the world. We're putting some key people in key roles around the company with a view just to expand what we're doing in general. The beauty about where we are today, the order book is really, really strong. We're out into 2025 and it keeps on coming, so we have to get everything in place to make sure we can fulfill our customers and our dealer network needs.
Hi, I'm Louis DeJesus from Mez Engineering. I'm Managing Director of the business. We are an automation and robotics company. We do state-of-the-art automation systems for manufacturing on the Gold Coast. We have clients all over Australia and international as well. We do sell machines into New Zealand on a regular basis. Our strength is automation. We look at either custom automation or dedicated machines. We decided to put our business here on the Gold Coast 16 years ago because the location is just amazing. It's just about attraction of that very high-level skilled engineers from anywhere all over Australia and the world to work in a beautiful place, which then allows people to be very innovative, very creative, because we are in that market of developing new technology, new ways of doing things to improve manufacturing, to make it more affordable, to make things better to make, easier to make, safer. There's all these reasons for automation, especially in a new emerging technology. It really can change a business to look at how they would manufacture their product in a manner that makes it more desirable for their clients. Yes. So when we're automating, the automation is usually driven around the productivity of the business, and that's around the line of we can make it more accurate. Those skills that we're then making it by hand are then transferred to someone running a machine or running a process to make multiples more of the same product. And things that they can't do by hand, they can now do with a machine. Look, labor saving is always something people are looking at, but not directly as a replacement, but as a way to create more with less. So, and look, and in this era with people skill shortages and not being able to find laborers, it's the only way to grow. And companies quickly realize that a lot of the constraints of past, thinking, oh, my volumes aren't large enough. These things don't have to be true. We can make machines now that are adaptable, fast changeovers. So if our changeover is 0 time, whether the cost for making one product or 1 million is exactly the same. So therefore you don't have to do things in large batches. You may not need a larger factory to store things. You can do things in more adaptive manner to suit your customers, be more reactive to their demands. It creates you a more valuable business. So you look at automation as a way to become a better business. And it's not about replacing labor to just make things cheaper by getting rid of staff. It's about letting those skills be used for a lot larger capacity. I think those are the key things. So look, we have clients in lots of industries, very diverse industry range. Some of the key clients we have in key industries would be in construction. We develop some custom machinery within the construction industry. We're also doing things within food and beverage, whether it's food manufacturing or support services like packaging, making packaging materials, bottles, bagging bottles, transporting them, those sort of things as well. We've worked in the wood industry, with robotic painting, doing it for fabricating, so for furniture, coffins, these sort of things. This is another one of our industries. We do work in the heavy industry in terms of making like robotic welding cells or making manufacturing systems for heavy industry. Defense is another one of our key industries, and mining as well. So we are working in all those spaces within automation because the automation, the skill set's transferable across many industries. So it does give us we really are very well versed. And being in all those industries, you realize that a lot of technology can be used in different industries in different ways, and it really gives you an advantage in the market.
Clearly it's been an interesting time with COVID. When COVID first hit, we were looking at uncertain times and no one had been through an international pandemic and those sort of things before. So I guess back in April 2020, we'd had a couple of months and sales were really dropping away. Even though we had a good forward order book, you wondered how long this was going to go on. And then someone flicked the switch in June 2020 and away it went and the market took off. I firmly believe in Riviera's circumstance that COVID shone a spotlight on everything we'd been building towards. And people's mindset changed of travel and not wanting to do that anymore, not wanting to line up, not wanting to wear masks. And boating is a great free and family activity that you can do together. So boating is very COVID friendly, if you like, because it's your immediate family, your immediate friends. You can travel, you don't have to line up, you can do all those sorts of things. So right now we've got unprecedented demand, and I don't see that changing in the years ahead, even though there's a lot of talk of inflation and global supply chains and uncertainty in the world. Buying a boat and having a certain future and then rewarding your family with some real quality time is imperative, I think, at the moment. Riviera I call the little Aussie battler, and we punch above our weight globally. And I say that because we go to Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, biggest boat show in the world in the US, and put on a big display every year. And last year we outsold many of the big brands from Europe or the US and those sorts of things. So we're humble, we're respectful of that position and the trust that people put in us, but we're very smart and innovative in what we build and where we go and what our product represents in the world of boats.
So Duncan Jones, the CEO of Muir Studios. Muir Studios is a pretty niche business within the niche film industry, so we're sort of multi-tiered in being niche, I suppose you could put it. We specialise in digitising locations, people and props. So when the big films come to town, visual effects is a big part of filmmaking now, so we support that. Traditionally that kind of industry would bring in people from overseas. So quite a few years ago, my partner and I, we saw a gap in the industry and we formulated Myriad, which is now employing very smart people to help build our industry locally. It's gangbusters now, so I can only imagine it's just going to keep rapidly, going the way it's going. So we're always constantly thinking about how do we keep upscaling, keep growing, keep maximising on the opportunities that are coming. And it's really hard. We can't keep up with demand right now. So that's great. When you've got more work than you can keep up with, it's often a good thing, but it's nice to keep growing, Yeah, with films in general, we're highly sought after now around the world. Aside from having the beautiful locations all at our doorstep, we've got great weather, we all speak English, we're all very safe people to hang around. The Gold Coast has continued to grow as a destination for filmmaking.
My name is Nathan Burns. I am a co-founder founder of Blockchain Collective and a few other ventures. Okay, so I think where we sit in the market is we're in the education space, but not in the delivery of education, more in the creation of the curriculum, to do with like how we can connect industry needs with like jobs, essentially. So we started there, and that's how it's kind of evolved. And basically, like what we see is there's an ongoing concern for filling like the job gap. And part of the issue is, one is awareness, especially in emerging tech. A lot of people are just simply not aware of what emerging technology is and how they could participate, how they can get into it. And they always think, oh, you need to be a coder, you need to have technical skills. The reality is that's only half of the equation. There's also the business application, the entrepreneurial side of it. And that's primarily for our accredited courses where we sit. So what we're really interested in doing is expanding out the accredited, the audience of the accredited courses, so we can help businesses apply blockchain and emerging technology to their business, but at the same time look broader for the industry demand, which we see across technical coding skills, across blockchain and all emerging technologies being more of a horizontal need as opposed to an industry vertical. It applies to many, many sectors. So what we're working on at the moment is creating a pipeline so we can provide skills and training to get people job ready. And there's a few barriers to entry. So cost is prohibitive for a lot of people, sometimes time constraints and demands. So we're about using both accredited curriculum for the depth, like for professional or industry expertise, and on the other side is more like short courses and industry certs, which are maybe something that people could do within a few hours and get recognition for, that might be just enough to get them into the role and be practical and on the job and adding value, rather than becoming an expert before they start and then realising, hang on, I haven't worked in a team before, hang on, I haven't worked with a database before. So our demand, we license our curriculum to colleges and RTOs, so like TAFE Queensland, Salterra, who's just over here in a brand new venue. and other campuses around Australia. And so our demand is coming from international students now. So, for example, one of our providers based in Sydney and Canberra, they have about 130 international students awaiting visa approval, and that's growing like every week. They've got constant flow and demand. We have local demand. And this is all coming through our college partners, so RTOs and so on. Where we see the demand coming from, like beyond them, is industry starting to recognise that blockchain and emerging tech plays a bigger part in how they could improve their system flow, their business flow and processes moving forward. And it's sometimes better to just get someone in your team, or some of them are naturally going and gravitating towards it anyway because they see it as like, I can add more value, I can secure my position, I can ask for more money, whatever it might be on their individual demand. But we're seeing it across the entire tech sector that people are looking to upskill, but a lot of people are looking to get into tech, and they might have never been involved ever. And that's okay, you don't need skills to come across, that's the whole point of learning.
What it's highlighted is the amazing industry sectors we have here on the Gold Coast. For instance, did you know advanced manufacturing is the third largest sector for the Gold Coast and employs 28,860 people. And 2 years ago that was 14,000. So it's growing phenomenally, and that involves also Industry 4.0. Our medical tech industry, we're the largest supplier of, we're the largest regional city in Australia for delivering clinical trials. I mean that's just phenomenal here for the Gold Coast. We punch way above our weight. Also the different sectors such as marine is growing so rapidly. Space, aerospace, well, it's every person's dream, isn't it? And we now have $15 billion for the aerospace industry for Gilmore Space Technology here on the Gold Coast. They have a $30 million rocket sitting ready to take off into space as a satellite. So that industry is growing phenomenally. They have just passed 150 employees today, and they're now looking at another 50. And as I said, they're not after rocket scientists. They're not after, they're after anyone who sincerely wants a job and is willing to be trained, and they're willing to have you work for them. What we recognise is the Gold Coast is a smart city now, and we are on a projection to outweigh any other area of the Gold Coast. So in essence, we punch way above our weight. Marine punches way above its weight. The Gold Coast now is going to be known for those key sectors, and those key sectors are the smart city sectors. The Minister was highly impressed with the collaboration that is undertaken here on the Gold Coast. She actually mentioned that in all the areas she visited, she's never seen the collaboration between schools, industry, universities and training sectors, and we were unique in having that collaborative focus moving forward. So we have industries working willingly together for the benefit of the whole of the Gold Coast. And they're willing to train, they're willing to share staff, they're willing to talk and sit at the table together to encourage the employment and skills development for the Gold Coast. And through RJC, the Regional Jobs Committee, we will continue to promote that collaboration and continue to work with industry to ensure that their growth projections can be reached, because we will have the staff locally and the training locally and the skills locally to be able to engage, for them to positively and confidently move forward.